Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, or whatever the time of the day or night it is that you're tuning into First Report 22.0
Oh my goodness.
with Fletcher, Tabuteau.
And this guy, Clayton Mitchell.
And there's Nook Karako in the background.
Hey, Nook.
I think he's talking to the two-funny tower bill. It's 5:30, and we're nearly home time on a Thursday, the second to last, the penultimate sitting week.
Yes.
We've got some big legislation in the House this week, a little bit of a light week next week. What's been going on for you this week, Fletch?
I suppose the big announcement for me that's really important to New Zealand First has been the half-year economic and fiscal update, Grant Robertson. And so many of you will remember, and some of you don't know, but New Zealand First stood quite strongly when we campaigned about increasing productivity in New Zealand, making sure we campaigned on that fair day's wage for a fair day's work. And so we wanted to make sure that our businesses were growing, we were growing our exports. And I just wanted to point out to everyone, productivity's up in New Zealand, wages are growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our business and investment growth is up by 4%. Our trade and export growth is around 3%, and unemployment is 3.9, but it's going to stay under 4 for at least the next financial budget year. So it's just been a fantastic year in terms of those fundamental.
And export productivity for GDP is wanting to get to 40%, isn't it, by 2025? We've got a fair way to go on that, but it's a pretty big, audacious goal to get there.
Yeah, exports is a part of GDP. National set a target to 40%. I think it was at 32ish when they said it. When they
dropped down to 28.
When they left, it was down to 28.
So we're climbing back up there again.
We are.
It's not all doom and gloom. And the other interesting thing that we keep hearing about while I'm on your bandwagon is business confidence that has dropped. Now, at the moment, I think business confidence is at about 62, and it's down by 3. It was up to 65, but 5 years ago, it was down to 54. So if you go back up over the last 5 years, it's still on the incline with a little bit of a dip, but it's coming back. When you talk to business confidence is definitely coming back, certainly in the tourism sector.
And the reality is people try and attribute that all to the government. Yes, there's been a lot of change. There's been some big stuff happening, but actually a lot of the uncertainty in business is about world events. And to attribute it all to what the government's doing is kind of misleading in the extreme. So, but it's good to see that confidence is increasing again.
And also in saying that, I think as a government we've got to do as much as we possibly can to get that business confidence back, and that's something that we are working on as a government. It doesn't come easily with any change. Doesn't matter what new government is formed, that creates that uncertainty. Until all the dust and small pebbles settle down, that uncertainty will remain. But we are gaining traction on that, so it's very positive to see.
Now, I know you've been really busy this week, but it hasn't been in the House, has it? You've got two select committees, and so tell us about what you're doing in there.
Well, I've got Economic Development, Science and Innovation, and that is a biggie. I mean, that's everything that MB does, we look after. So at the moment we're going through the annual reviews. I nearly had a Freudian slip there. I was lucky I pulled back from that.
Yeah, you're a good man.
And I have to say they're as boring as all hell some days, but we had an interesting one today, and we were looking at the economic development. We were looking at Provincial Growth Fund. We looked at tourism today, and those are some pretty dynamic sectors in our government.
So what was it in tourism? Was it Tourism New Zealand?
We had Tourism New Zealand and CEO and board, Kerry Pendergrast. She's finishing up her term. But they are going gangbusters, and I asked a very important question about. In fact, I related it to a canary in a coal mine in the old days, and the canaries would die if there was any sort of noxious gases. And I likened tourism to that, which they got a very perplexed look from.
No, I'm confused.
What I related it to is like when the rest of the world catches a cold, i.e. a GFC, tourism suffers greatly. And it was interesting to see what transitional stages that they have put in place to minimise those impacts, because global financial crises happen on a cycle. Ever since the turn of time and working through the world economic policies.
A good government for, to try and flatten
exactly
that out.
Right. And so they've got some great initiatives to try and offset that, going for value as opposed to volume tourism. That's going very, very well. And they also identified the importance of having a very competitive Kiwi dollar, because when the GFC does hit us, our Australian compadres travel to us more, and it's a particularly positive approach if they've got a really good
Thank goodness
Kiwi
for the
dollar
Reserve Bank reforms.
New Zealand first,
Yeah.
I tell you, keep it there.
Do you want? We're running out of time, but do you want to give us one more of those reviews, just to?
No, I don't.
No.
But thanks for asking.
Running out of time.
But I do want to say this weekend, go Joseph Parker. I am coming down to Christchurch. We are going to be right behind you this weekend, mate. It's a must-win fight. We know you're going to nail it. Very, very proud to be in there supporting the Kiwi. So tune into your TVs if you're not going to go and watch it live. Sit around the radio with a mint in your mouth listening to the outcome. It's going to be a great fight.
Wish him the best. Cheers.
Yeah,
Good luck, everyone.
Everybody, we'll see you next week.
See ya.